business. All right. So we're going to talk about that this evening, probably about a quick 30 minutes or so, no more, no less. And we're going to get straight to it. Now, if you're tuning in on the live stream, you will be able to see the video recording because I'm going to share the screen. But if not, then you basically are going to hear me chat about it. Same information, just different visual aid. Okay. So what you know about credit? What you know about business funding? So the key point, the key takeaway from this is that anybody can start a business, right? The key is to keep it going. And that's the main issue that a lot of individuals run into. They run into lack of capital. Lack of capital means what? You don't have the actual income that's necessary for you to establish your business in a long-term fashion. That's why you see a lot of companies that may start up and they may quickly be dissipated. You know, you go from a grand opening to we apologize, we'll close for business, right? So the key plays that I push out there is elevation and continual growth and development. But you have to have working capital in order to be able to do that. So establishing your business the right way, that's what it's called, establishing your business the right way, which also means having your business properly structured, right? So firstly, you start with your business entity, and that's what you register with the secretary of your particular state, right? So your business entity is established based upon a name that you decide on choosing for your entity, but it also is a name that is not taken by another company or business owner. So you have to ensure before you even get started with business cards, building a website, getting anything associated to that particular name and title, you have to ensure that that name has not already been taken. That's number one. Number two is when you want to set up your EIN number. Your EIN number is basically your business's social security number with the U.S. government, right? The same way you were born with the social security card, your business has to have that association for tax purposes as well. Then you want to get what you call is your DNB. That's your Dun and Bradstreet number, right? All that's established and set up and immediately during the evolution or the creation of your particular business entity. After that, you want to have an address. Can you get away with using your personal address or using a home address? Yes, you can, but you would truly actually want a physical brick and mortar if you're that profitable and if you need a solid structure and establishment to run your business. Outside of that, you would want a physical address in an office building or particular location. You don't want to use your personal address because once those banks look up your credibility, they're going to see that it's associated to your 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, and they're not going to take you serious as far as moving forward in business endeavors with you, especially when it comes to business funding. You want to have your business bank account set up, right? Everybody is joyous when they first get their business credit card or business debit card and has the company name on it. You know, they want to jump for joy and be excited about that. You know, but it is a great accomplishment because now what you have to think about is what you have rolling inside of that particular bank account. Because if you know that if that bank account is in the negative or doesn't have any income coming in, you need to work a little more harder on your particular business. And which is nothing wrong with that because one of the hardest things in the world is to be an entrepreneur. Like I compare that to a boxer or MMA fighter. You have to be somewhat semi-crazy in order for you to take upon that as your profession because the highs are very high, the lows are very low. The consistency comes with experience and time, you know, but ultimately you are in control of every aspect of your existence and those that you take care of round about you. You know, and it can be scary and overwhelming for some. You want to have your business email address. You don't want to use a Gmail. You don't want to use a Yahoo, right? You don't want to use an AOL.com, right? You want to have it established as realinvest at support.com, info at support.com, realinvest at such and such enterprises, right? You want to have it established to where, okay, we can associate your professionalism and your professional manner to a professional source, such as an outlet via an email. You want to have a business phone number. You don't want to use your personal phone number and use that as your main point of contact. There are different services, Freedom Voice, GoDaddy, that offer everything that I'm mentioning outside of the EIN and the DUNS, but digital addresses. You can find uh, online business banking accounts. You can find professional email address. You can find 1-800 numbers or alternate numbers from your particular region and state that you can use as your phone number. All right. You also want to have a business website, whether it's a single landing page to where people can find you, or a full-fledged website that references all of your particular services. Like mine, for example, I have a few different services that are linked there. When you go to the home page, it gives you the opportunity to book a direct call with my team, or it gives you an opportunity to go down another avenue that is kind of more so solo, to the point to where you kind of take the information and figure it out yourself and kind of do the legwork there. And lastly, you want to get listed on 411. The 411 is what people will see when they look you up. If you have a service provided on your particular website, your business website, whatever service that you have provided on there, once you're placed inside the 411 system, everybody across the world who has Google, who has Yahoo, who has a particular search engine, they're going to be able to find you, right? So now we got the business established, which is key one. Like I said, that's the easiest fashion of it all. And many people have what they call businesses, but they don't have the funding that's necessary for their business to continue on. So how do you get your business funded? Let's say, for example, that you need to start out using your own personal credit. You got to use your own personal credit. You have to be what we call a PG, which is a personal guarantor, and includes a 2-year credit history. It includes that you have at least a credit card with the limit of $5,000 on it. You don't have any late payments in the last 2 years. Your utilization should be underneath 30%, and 10 is perfect. 10% is excellent utilization, but 30% is the most common one that is acceptable by the banks. No derogatory accounts, no new accounts in the last 6 months, and no more than 3 inquiries in the last 6 months. Now, the beauty of all that is that the Metro 2 compliance software that my team uses and myself uses I even use it for myself, but also for my clients, is that whatever negative is on your particular account, you're able to get that disputed to the point to where we do what we call clean up your profile. Because once you clean up your profile, right now, it can appear as though it's a dirty house, but that's not a true reflection of you and who you are. So once it gets cleaned up, and now we've done a deep clean of that credit profile, now it's a clean house. It's a beautiful house that's ready for dwelling. So there are a few reasons why your business wouldn't be eligible to get this particular funding that I'm speaking of. In the beginning, I went into what it has to be structured properly. It has to be set up the right way. So one reason is that your business was not set up the right way, right? You could have used a home address. You could have not gotten it registered through the Secretary of State. You could not have your EIN number set up with the U.S. government, right? Or let's say you went in for funding and the documentation that you brought in, all documents are not consistent. So you have mismatches. When you're presenting yourself, don't present yourself as a server come in. Yes, I'm looking for some funding. No. That bank is an LLC too. That bank is an entity. That bank is a corporation. It's another business that was established. So you, B2B, business to business, is coming in with your documents properly orchestrated, properly set up, properly leveled out, properly written to do what? Make that exchange from one business to another. Yes, I'm looking for working capital, right? You use a personal email, right? Can you get funding with that? Yes, you can. But using a personal email address, it's hit or miss. And what we want to do is not miss, right? Because that's mediocre. and we're not the ones with the mediocre mindset, right? And let's say another reason is that you use your personal bank account. You don't want to use your personal bank account that you have for your regular living expenses. It has to be something set off aside to and established in a business business fashion with a bank, right? And let's say you have no online presence. So when they go to look you up, like people, like I don't want you to think that when you go in for funding that they're just going to take your word for it. They're going to take a look at your documents. They're going to look you up. They may even call your business phone number that you have on file, right? But there are ways that you can get around that to where, let's say you don't have the brick and mortar, let's say you don't have that true landline, you can set up the digital address to appear as though you have that brick and mortar. And you also can set up a service that will give you a professional phone number, but it basically just forwards the phone to your personal line. So there's always a will and there's always a way, right? And let's say, for example, another reason for getting denied, you're in a high risk industry. You know, you're in an industry that's working in firearms, or an industry that's working in risky investments, or you're in an industry that the banks look at as too high of a risk for the probability of more than likely losing money from, right? So you want to set up yourself in a fashion to where it covers those particular fears that these banks have when it comes to funding, right? And another reason that you probably are not getting funded, or you can't get funded, is because your personal credit is not a position. The same thing that we went into here on how to get your business funded. So not having your personal credit in position can also get you a denial, right? And as I mentioned, using your personal cell phone number. And this one right here is very key. The next one that I'm going to read is you don't have an operating agreement. You have to have an operating agreement when you present your particular request for funding and to open up a bank account uh, with a particular establishment. You know, because they want to see your books, they want to see how you're operating. They want to see how the structure is. They want to see how everything is set up in order for them to have that true confidence without even having to go and look at your books, right? And you could not bear your business name with the Secretary of State. So you have to get that registration completed. And all these particular services that I'm mentioning consist of either one, being a service provided by my company, and two, a service that we can provide in order to ensure that you get everything set up and established. So when it comes to your business credit application, it's very important for when you're applying that you're applying for reasons for working capital, because that working capital is showing them that you're not trying to make up for losses and you're not trying to scale in a particular fashion that is not meant for you to grow as a company, because they want to ensure that they are able to get an ROI, which is a return on their investment by loaning you out the funds, but reaping in the benefits of the particular interest that comes with that. So for business income, it's going to be projected income. So what do you think that you're worth? How much do you think that your business being established and set up is worth, right? Typically, the amount that is good for confidence construction is 225 to 250K, right? The next one here, the nature of your business. The nature of your business, right? You have different types of S Corp, LLCs. You have to ensure that that matches and aligns with all of the documentation that you have submitted to the particular credit agency. Now, what's your role in the business, right? They can be whatever you want it to be. You could be an employee, a manager, you could be the owner, you could be CEO. But this is all the information that's needed in order for you to fill out your business credit application thoroughly. And it also goes into how many years in business you have, right? Typically, the year for approvals is around 2 years, right? So you want to make sure that that aligns with what your LLC or your entity original documentation. You want to align ensure alignment between those particular two documents, right? So number of employees, the average between 2 and 3. It doesn't matter if you are working solo in the business. You want to ensure that you are showing the banks and the creditors that you have a fully structured business and organization to where you're requesting these funds from them in order to take care of these headcounts and overhead that you do have in order to have working capital to scale your business. It's all about growth. You know, they don't want to hear anything about your losses. They don't want to hear anything about the hardships. Only thing they want to hear about is how am I going to get this money back with the interest that I'm applying onto it. Okay, so some no PG lines of credit that you can apply for, right? They won't hit you with these particular fees right off the rip when it comes to it, right? And like I said, I'm sharing my screen here on this live stream right here. But you have Lendio, you have Kabbage, you have Fundbox, Clearco, and this one right here is real famous, Divvy and Capital on Tap, and you have a 5-star processing. So these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, these particular lines of business credit right here are is credit that you can apply for, you know, starting tonight. Because what I'm trying to really push out there is that the money and the funds is available, but it's just that know-how. It's that particular information that we lack to where we can't even execute upon anything. So we stay and we just sit back, just wishing and watching and waiting for something to happen, you know? So business funding is one of the best kept secrets in the world because debt is looked at as though that is something bad and something horrendous and something terrible, but it's not. You got good debt, you have bad debt. If your credit card is maxed out because you decide to go on a shopping spree, that's bad debt. What if your credit card is maxed out? Let's say you went out and bought an investment property, or you went out and purchased an apartment complex, or you went out and you bought a vehicle with the intention to flip it and make something back 2 or 3-fold. You know, that's really truly what it's all about when it comes to having good debt versus bad debt. And we are in the mindset of having good debt. Any bad debt, we toss it out and we throw it away. All right. So with that being said, like I said, it was going to be a quick one for this evening. We went into straight business alignment as far as getting your business structured properly, step by step. We also went into business funding on the steps that it took for approval versus up to getting the actual funding for that, right? How do I build credit? Is it best I start now, even though I'm going to college? Yep, it's best you start now. It's always easier to start now than it is to start later, you know, and there are credit builder cards out there for those individuals that have not established their own personal credit just yet. And I'll drop it in the chat, or I'll send it to you. But it's always best to start now because one instance it may be too late. And we don't want to wait until, oh, I wish I would have did this, I wish I would have done that, because so many people in this world have those negative anecdotes and those negative connotations and they just live a life in regret and depression because they knew that they could have did more, but when they had the opportunity, they didn't pull the trigger on it. Okay. And so with that being said, I'm gonna close it out. I'll see y'all on the next rep. I thought that was all bad together because you're low on money. So when it comes to using credit, you don't use it if you don't have the money, right? So if you're using credit because you're low on money, then you're going about it the wrong way. Because credit is not to be used as a backup, right? Credit is used for the benefits. So let's say if you have a credit card and they give you rewards and bonus points and things of that nature, you would still use that credit card for your daily necessities, right? So if you have food, you have gas, you have utilities, you have to pay those anyway. So you would use a credit card that's not your money, but they give you money back for using it. So you'll use other people's money and also get points back, right? You'll get points back for using a particular service, but you never use more than what you truly have. So if you were going to spend 500 anyway, spend the 500 on the card, get their points, and then use the 500 that you were going to spend of your own money and pay the card back. You know what I mean? All right, I'm out. Tell the people something they don't know about me.